guy, and it's like you're just like cool guy, and you got him for who he was. And yeah, he was always super cool with me.
See, but here's what's interesting though. So you had that experience. I had the exact same experience. I had it at Fitz. I don't know if you had that at Fitz or if you had that sooner, but a big reason why I flunked at Fitz was I spent so much of that year going for exactly what you just said, ingratiating myself to these tough guys or people that I looked up to, still do, and like not like wanting to feel like safe. And so safe meant, like I said, ingratiating myself. And like what I'm trying to figure out is, why did I tank a whole year of school to do that and you didn't do that? You just didn't.
You know, I don't.
I'm going to maintain this because you're smarter. That's just.
I think I knew when to back off. You know, like I said, spidey senses, for lack of a better term. I knew cool guy. Like I've always been of the mindset of, I'm going to treat you the way you treat me. If you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. End of story.
Right.
That doesn't mean I want to be in your element.
Right.
That means I respect you, I respect it, and then if you're like into other stuff, like they were, I'm like, I respectfully bow out.
Right.
And I would always be like, no, it's cool. Yeah, it's good. I'll see, you know. But if the environment was different, then yeah, I'd shoot the breeze with him, hang out. There was time when we went out when he was there, and everything was super cool. But I didn't go down that route. I remember I knew Locke, but I didn't really hang out with him or anything.
Right. Yeah, I didn't hang out with him a ton, but I became friendly enough to where one of the times where he ran away, he came to my house, and I remember I was just stoked, like, okay, like it wasn't like popularity, it was more like, okay, I'm seen as someone that these people could like trust.
They trust, yeah, like this guy will help me out,
but that doesn't mean I necessarily should have tanked 7th grade.
No, I get that, right? And there was,
and the thing is, that wasn't those guys' fault either. That was all me. Like,
no, exactly, yeah,
everything in my, like we're saying, too many freaking movies.
Too many movies, right? And I don't know what their life experience was. I was obviously different than mine.
You know, me too.
Yeah, right. So with ours, and so I have to respect it, and also knowing that I don't understand it, and knowing I was always like, I would understand and appreciate things from afar, but I always, whatever reason, I always kind of knew, like, okay, I'm going to stop here.
Yeah.
There was for years, there was points where, I laugh about it, but like I had friends of mine that would tell their parents I was going with them places just so they let them go.
Oh, wow. I can see that. I
remember Octavio. Octavio used to do that all the time. Because we'd be going out, and his mom would literally ask him, is German going? Like, I'll be standing there. Are you going? Yeah, he's like, okay, you can go. And because she would say, he's the responsible one, not you.
Right.
Because, Octavio would just do crazy.
But Octavio always seemed, at least more than me, he always seemed more mature and just older than me.
He was just he was a fun guy, and he just got into great sense of humor. He would run, like, he got really tight with Marty and his family, right, and Mark and James and all this.
See, those guys to me, the epitome of style.
Oh yeah, they were always
like next, like you to me were next level. Those guys even went further with it. Like I remember, like Marty, almost like it was almost like impeccable, like the way he did up his hair and just like
the Z Cavarici pants, and the patent leather shoes,
had it figured out.
Yeah,
Which leads me into, and this is touched on a little bit in Cool Summer, a little bit in that Best Days of My Life animated thing. One thing I always remember was with you, me, and John in your room getting ready to go to a party. I just, because that happened a bunch of times, and I just remember spray net, I remember clothing, I remember, and here's the thing, for no reason at all, the parties were never as good as the anticipation of going to the party.
Totally agree.
Like
because of the movies.
Okay.
We'd build them up in our head.
Like, we would walk up, you would hear loud music, and maybe there'd be 3 people there. Sometimes, and then maybe there would be more than that. And it always seemed like whenever the really good parties happened, I wasn't there, like for whatever reason. And then Fergus remembers me being at a party down by New Hope. I swear to God, I was never at.
Really?
I just wasn't. I would, dude. I'm going to remember.
Fergus is a great guy.
Yeah, awesome.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
You had to have been there at the end of New Hope, really?
Yeah.
I know we went. There's. I know I ended up at parties that I don't remember going to. I remember going to something I was introduced to at Fitz was this these party crew folks.
Okay.
So it was a lot of like the Mexican kids had like these party crews, and I was like, they were in my classes, so I would make friends with these guys. I was all guys and girls, right? So I'm meeting all these people, but they were always like all dressed up and hip,
like
and
dressed up at school.
Yeah, and then they're like they would have they're always trying to be GQ, and they'd have like these like
GQ
really like nicely printed flyers, like color flyers. I'm in these parties, and they have these party crew names and invite people. I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. What is that? And eventually, you kind of end up at some of these parties, and you're like, wow.
Was this when I was at Fitz?
Yeah, it was happening with you. Yeah, when I was in we were in 7th grade.
Yeah.
Because.
Dude, but I never went. But okay, here's the thing.
I just met random people, and you'd go, and you're like, do I really belong here? But it was fun. I mean, they were super cool. It was just, you're just like, you try something new, or we go like, I went to the dances at Fitz. Somewhere, I have a picture somewhere of...
See, I never went to any of those dances.
I did, but they were in the afternoon, remember? They were like at 3:30, right after
smart.
school.
We're not putting them on at night.
No, it was always right after school.
Yeah.
I remember I have a picture of like, it was Albert and like Derek Hall, myself.
Derek Hall, who developed his own style.
Yes, he went kind of goth, yeah.
He went goth, but then he got into like all dance music and DPSM, and I was just like, yeah.
And was it Daniel? It might have been Daniel.
Daniel Armenta?
No, Dan Dingley.
Okay.
The archer, right?
Archer, yeah.
So I think it was Daniel was in the picture. And I just remember, like, I was looking back, I was like, oh my God. It was so funny because it was like, we were at these dances. I remember we had seen, like, we became obsessed. I remember going to Albert's house, and we had watched Pretty in Pink, I don't know how many times. I was using, like, Ducky's lines at girls at school.
Did I see that movie with you? Did we see that together?
I don't think so.
Okay, because
I think we rented it at his house.
Okay.
You and I saw a bunch of stuff together.
Well,
I actually wanted to go back.
John Hughes movies.
John Hughes movies were everything.
But like Breakfast
But we saw
Club.
Breakfast Club together.
Yeah. But that movie in particular, for our group, 6th grade year, going into Fitz, 84, 85, that book, it is heavily, in fact, I think it's in the book. That movie's in the book. I don't know if there's a story in there about us. And you got to realize those stories are also an idea. A lot of it is fiction mixed with
but
some
it's
of
inspired
this
by
stuff.
it,
Yeah,
right? Absolutely.
All of that. Well, there's a reason why your character in 85, 86, Cool Summer, he always is wearing a tie. Like I'm trying to like keep the fashion thing.
Keep the fashion thing, yeah.
But
I'm having all these memories from your house coming back right now.
Dude, well,
think about it. So, I remember hanging out at your house. I remember going to your house after school.
I remember you guys pointing out that I would put freaking pudding in a bag and walk and suck the pudding.
You would do soda. You would put Pepsi and Coke in a Ziploc bag and poke a hole in it and drink it.
I never
just
thought
because it
you
was
guys
funny.
were paying attention to it. So one day you and Albert brought it up, and I was like,
Evan does that.
I do that.
You do that. And you would. I always remember coming home, and you'd always give Andrew shit, and then Andrew would get upset. Poor Andrew. He'd always get pissed at you and start off like, oh my God, you'd be
But
crazy.
you realize I was giving him shit.
And he's
Because
like, get out of my room.
Well, in my mind, you guys would think I was cooler. Like, never realizing, because we're older now, but never realizing I'm being a dick. Like, to my brother for